Ken Trahan with Lenny Vangilder. It's our First NBC Bank Weekend Review, brought to you by First NBC Bank with 35 locations throughout Southeast Louisiana and the Florida Panhandle. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of SportsNola.com. The New Orleans Saints, of course, getting ready for a trip to Indianapolis. The Colts will have a short week after playing Sunday night football. Saints have a long week after playing on Thursday night football. Saints off of a win, Colts off of a loss, and the Saints will have a new kicker when they head to Indianapolis this week, and that's no surprise.
No, I think after what we saw, that was probably the one disappointing thing out of Thursday night's win over Atlanta. Like what you saw out of the offense, like what you saw out of the defense, but the kicking game continues to be a struggle, and nothing official by the Saints Monday morning, but multiple reports out there that Zach Hocker has been released, Kai Forbath has been signed to take his place, and it's 6 degrees of Dustin Hopkins, basically. The Saints let Hopkins go to keep Hocker. A week after the opener, Hopkins gets signed, Forbath gets released in Washington, and now Hocker's getting released and Forbath is getting signed in New Orleans. So, like I said, kickers are a lot like NBA head coaches, I think. There's only about 40 of them that are out there, and they just kind of, make the rounds to take each other's place.
Yeah, it's not a dime a dozen, but it's kind of been that way. And obviously they picked the wrong guy when they came out of training camp, so we'll see if they can fix that. Saints played very well last week, and now it becomes a matter of who's going to play this week with a few extra days as a chance for some guys that have been hurt to maybe come back. Armstead would be Exhibit A. That's a guy they really need to get back. And certainly they hope that with a few extra days, Keenan Lewis gets a little bit better so he becomes more prominent. Damian Swann, we'll keep an eye on him. Look, there's a chance that they can get some people back.
I would add another one to that list, and that's Thomas Morstead. Mm-hmm. I think, what maybe this tells me with this move that was made on Monday from the kicking situation, that maybe Morstead is ready to go. Because Forbath, if you look at his numbers, is not a great kickoff guy. Yeah, he's an outstanding placement guy who's made 87% of his field goals in his NFL career, but is not a great kickoff guy. So hopefully that means Morstead is ready to go on Sunday.
Yeah, I think that's probably a pretty good indicator. The LSU Tigers, they did it. They found a way to beat Florida 35-28. Strange game. LSU looked like the better side pretty much all night, but special teams got them in deep trouble in this game and then bailed them out.
Speaking of kickers, who saw that one coming, huh? Trent Domang with the game-winning touchdown. Oh, of course you had him scoring the game-winning touchdown, but that's, it's vintage Les Miles, and it's, one of those kind of plays where you see the end rushing hard off the edge in a situation like that. Just send him out wide, nobody's home, and all you got to do is, outrun guys to the boundary. Nice block by John Errett's Darrell Williams on the play, to get in for the touchdown. And, of course, Leonard Fournette, although he only gained 180 yards.
I guess a really good defense. That was a special performance by Fournette. Just, again, solidifies his position as the front runner for the Heisman Trophy for an undefeated football team that has one of those, I don't know if I want to call it a trap game, but one of those games you have to tread carefully with Western Kentucky, who's not a bad football team at all, and it's, of course, ahead of some huge SEC games.
It is, and you're right. This can be a trap because Western Kentucky can really get it done on offense. And look, LSU on defense, while the defense you would think is better than the offense, at least as you look at this team going into the season, this is still a defense that has allowed no fewer than 19 points in every game this year. They've not had that shutdown performance on the defensive end, and I think as they go down the stretch, that defense is going to need to step up and help win them some games. And this will be a challenge for them against Western Kentucky this week, which is an outstanding offense and a very good quarterback.
It will, but their primary problem still remains special teams. No question about it. They've given up a punt and a kickoff for touchdowns. They haven't covered kicks well. They haven't punted consistently well at all. And they've had trouble fielding punts and kickoffs. It's been a real problem for LSU this year. So we'll see. You can't use Leonard Fournette there too, can you? They did last year. I'm just saying, he does everything else. Why not?
You get in a spot, it's late in the game, and you need something. I can best believe that number 7's going to be back there.
You need to have somebody catch the ball first and foremost. As for Tulane, not much to talk about. They got crushed by Houston, did absolutely nothing on offense, and it's pretty clear who they are. They're not going to beat anybody that's any good. I mean, that's not a criticism. It's a statement of fact. When they play teams at a lesser level, they can compete and win. But, in their conference, which is a very good league, which now has 3 teams undefeated in the top 25. They're not close to competing.
Yeah, and they just faced 2 of them the last 2 weeks. They get a 1-loss Navy team this week, and then the other ranked team in Memphis coming up in 2 weeks. By the way, both of those games on the road. They're not back at home until November 7th for homecoming against UConn. But, they still, the schedule does get better in November, but this is just a brutal stretch, and you're right. Right now, when they face these upper echelon teams on their schedule, they have not been very competitive. It would help certainly to get Tanner Lee back this week.
Well, it would. I mean, no disrespect to Devin Powell, but there's no way he can do what Lee can do, and it definitely hurts their offense. And otherwise, it's a matter of recruiting. They simply don't have good enough players on offense to play the kind of schedule they're playing or against the people they're playing. It's really that simple when you analyze Tulane's situation. With regard to high school football, another great weekend this past weekend, including our first NBC Prep Showcase game with Brother Martin beating Holy Cross. And, of course, another great week to come. Riverside and St. Charles Catholic, fantastic game. Of course, we'll have radio games, and we'll have more to announce about sportsnola.com as well. So it's going to be another great week as we get in deep into the season, week 8.
Yeah, and by the way, volleyball this week for the first time of this season, Wednesday, about a 5:30 start. Ursuline against Academy of Our Lady. First of a couple of volleyball games we'll have this year at sportsnola.com. So not just covering football here for you. Football's it gets the spotlight, but we've got some other sports action for you as well. So tune in on Wednesday.
Good programs. And don't forget Sports Nola TV, Monday night, 6 p.m., WHNO TV 20, with Brian Alley Walsh, Ricky Jackson, and yours truly. We'll break down the Saints, LSU, Tulane, high school football, and more. We hope you'll watch. That's 6 p.m. Monday night, Sports Nola TV.
Looking forward to it. And another great week. This might be the best week on the schedule thus far, really might.
All good. Looking forward to it. And you just need to stay here at sportsnola.com and you'll get it all. Lenny, it's always a pleasure. Have a great week.
All right. See you later this week.
That's our first NBC Bank preview for the coming week and review of the past weekend. We basically covered it all. Brought to you by First NBC Bank. 35 locations throughout the greater New Orleans area and beyond. That's First NBC Bank, proud sponsor of sportsnola.com. He's Lenny. I'm Kenny. Have a great week and God bless you.